I'm done. I'm finally done. I am the Makai Master, whatever that is. I got Raigo, whoever that is. Looking back at the dates on my achievements, it seems my entire Garo journey took me about 2 months. So if 5.1 is 4 months away, there's still plenty of time if you start now. At the time I started, I did have most jobs over 50 and a few over 60. So, after you collect everything, isn't there supposed to be a secret ending or a special surprise? You know? Well, sure. Spoilers ahead. When you present yourself for the last time, the priest says a little more. And you draw your weapon instead of just nodding. Also, if you ask the priest for another title, you get this. Let me give you fair warning here. I've never seen the show Garo. I'd like to at some point. I don't speak or read Japanese, so I don't really know how the names of characters or items are pronounced. Something I noticed, the disreputable priest is female. I wouldn't have a problem with that if it weren't for the fact that the gear sets specifically make the distinction of priest for male and priestess for female. Also, she's wearing the monk set, not the magic damage set, which is designated as Makai Priest, not the healer set, considering priests are usually healers in RPGs. Nope, the monk set. After extensive research, looking things up on the wiki, it seems the disreputable priest may in fact be based on the character Rekka from the show. More on this later. Well, before we get into all the sets, I need to correct and update some of the information from the previous video. First of all, the Invisible Shield does not become available on the Calamity Salvager after earning the Paladin title. If you have discarded it, you may want to try and get another and put it in your Glamour Dresser as soon as possible. There are a couple mistakes in the last video. Remember this? Well, the female healer set is actually the Makai Moon Guide. Also, the Dragoon set is actually Knight without a K. So with the release of Shadowbringers, Dancer has been added to the Makai Marks Person set. I kind of expected that. And Gunbreaker? You're out of there. Gunbreaker is not currently on any set, and I did check them all. Now, if you don't want to wait for Blue Mage to be raised to 60, you can buy the gear at the Gold Saucer. So let's take a look at each set. Garo is the Makai armor worn by Kyago Sajima, the protagonist of the show. The reason for the invisible shield is that the character does not use one. Note that the sword has a scabbard when it's at your side. The Warrior and the Dark Knight sets seem to be related to the same character. Raigo is a fallen Makai Knight who is the antagonist of the first season of the show. Kiba is the name of the Makai armor he uses. He uses a sword much like Garo's, which isn't in the game, and an axe like the warrior weapon. I have not found any reference to the sword Hellite. In another world where Raigo did not fall, Kiba was a golden armor like Garo. That would have been a good way to make these two sets different. The Dan armor is worn by the Makai Knight Tsubasa Yamagatana. He has a white horse, Hayate, that is not available in-game. His weapon, the White Knight, is also known as the Midnight Sun Spear. The Zero armor is worn by the Makai Knight, Rei Susamura. The female monk outfit is what the disreputable priest wears, and she seems to be based on Rekka, a Makai priestess in the show. When not drawn, the Makai fists appear as gloves on your hands, replacing any other hand armor you may be wearing and covering up any rings. They have this flaming symbol when drawn. The Mado brush is a tool used by the Makai priests. There are various types, but they are usually much smaller. The weapon has a red gem that pulses when drawn. The inside is not one I have seen before, so it may be a reference to the show. Notice the brush on the book. The only reference to a bow I found was in relation to the Makai armor Guy, which is a blue armor that seems to be from an alternate universe. It's obviously not this bow. And here is that small gun again. It would be nice if it went on your hip instead of on your back, but that would require a special animation. The male version of this headpiece is nice if you want a steampunk style. The head of the staff glows when drawn. The name of the book, Makai Chronicle, is a reference to the second season of the show, which was called Makai Chronicles. The book has the same inside as the Summoner book. This one has a pulsing pattern on it. The animation is typical of most star globes. The headpiece is quite different from the female version. As I mentioned before, the Warrior and Dark Knight armor sets are visually identical. The robe sets share several pieces. All the male sets have the same legs and the same feet. The magical damage and monk sets have the same gloves. Here are the ranged damage gloves and the healer gloves. All the female sets have the same shorts, and all but the healers have the same gloves. Well, the healer gloves are the same, except for a long sleeve added to them. All the boots are the same, except for the magical damage set, which look like this. The monk and magical ranged headpieces are the same for both genders, while the ranged and healers' heads are all different. All the accessories look alike, like all the necks look alike, all the rings look alike. There's no difference in any of them. There are several Madogu or magical tools in the show, and these include several pieces of jewelry. They are all silver with red gems or a red tassel in the case of the earring. Earrings are left ear only. Bracelets are right wrist only. No accessories are visible on the armored sets. They're not bad looking if you like a kind of gothy look. Like many accessories, these are not job locked, so if you like them, you only need one of each for glamour. And now for the belts. So here's the belt of the Golden Wolf. And here, yes, I know, belts are not visible in this game, but they do have different icons. Okay, now for the main event. These are probably the most sought after items for this event. The 3 mounts you get for winning PvP matches are based on Madoba or Mado horses from the show. Each horse is connected to a particular Makai armor. Yes, I did acquire all 3 mounts, and without doing a single rival wings. I mean, I did try, it just never popped. Ginga, the silver horse, goes with 0. Goten is the mount of Garo. It's a show about Garo. I don't particularly like Goten. The gold is just too bright. It's not really gold colored. It's more of the gold you'd see on a cheap toy. Raigo, belongs to Kiba, the fallen knight, Barago. Personally, my favorite is Raigo. I love the details in the animation of the tail, and just the color is good. There are several other horse mounts in the various iterations of Garo, but one that seems to be prominent in the main continuity is Dan's horse Hayate. I think that would make a great reward for finishing all the achievements, but unfortunately it's not in the game. There's still time to finish this up, so here are some tips if you are unfamiliar with PvP. First, check out my guide on unlocking PvP. Also see the first part of this guide. With Shadowbringers came several changes to PvP. Head over to the Wolves Den practice dummies to figure out what's up with your favorite jobs. Please don't go into front lines and say, "I'm just here for the mounts." You need to win, so don't just AFK and expect everyone else to win it for you. Put in your best effort to learn how to win. A single player doesn't last long against 2 or 3 others, so mostly stay in groups. Occasionally, a single player can help by taking a node when nobody is looking, but these opportunities are few. Know when to give it up, because your death helps the other team. Try to take out healers first, especially if someone marked them. It is extremely unlikely to win a feast without putting in at least some effort. Your team only has 4 members, 1 AFK, and the team loses. The team that focuses targets will always beat the team that doesn't. You need to communicate. Become familiar with the quick chat features. If someone calls a target, try to comply. If no one is calling a target, call one yourself. In feasts, taking out the healer isn't always the best strategy. Some healers are really good at keeping themselves alive. Sometimes it's better to take out a DPS that is straying a little too far. So is this a good event? It's fine as a casual grind, but with very little in the game telling people this exists, you see a lot of people scrambling to get it done now. I tried to get into PvP in this game a few times, but queue times were ridiculous. It seemed that once the announcement that Garo would be ending came down, queue times improved dramatically. There is really no story presented and nothing that really tells you much about the show this is based on. After doing a little research, I see that there are numerous other characters that could have been used as the basis for other sets rather than having so much repetition. But I see little reason to lock the armor to particular jobs. The bottom line is, it's a grind fest, with some decent unique rewards. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, or subscribe. Goodbye.